Hey guys, it's me again, Tracilyn, also known as V-Cat. What does the V stand for? Victory. What? Victory! Yes. The sign says stop, but we're going to continue to walk. Just remember I told you my mother used to love driving us and racing around the country roads in her Pinto. And if you don't know what I'm talking about by saying the blue car, the Pinto, you're gonna have to look it up. Maybe you could do me a favor. Search on Google and see if you can find some old blue, like a baby blue 70s model Pinto. Ford Pinto. Ford made them, as far as I remember. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about in any one of these videos, you want to go back. You don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. You may have to go back a video or two, scan through it a little bit, and kind of catch up. Because I don't want to keep repeating myself in this. This is actually, you are watching a video blog series of the last 40 years of my life. Why? Why do you ask? Because I can. Someone actually sings songs about that, you know. No, because I believe that sharing my life will be able to inspire someone else out there that may be going through something that they're struggling with. Because I've been through a lot. We're going to start at the very beginning. Right now we're working on ages 1 through 3, when I was a toddler in the 70s. So you're looking at 1972 to 1975, somewhere in that area. My mother used to love taking us for Pinto rides, and on the last video I showed you the first place that we went. The very first place that she took us that one night. She loaded us all in the car, and we're bearing on down through. But I'll never forget, she came racing down this road. This is the road that our home was on, or is on, up here in the trailer that I was showing you in video number 1 or 2. And we came racing on down through here in the Pinto. Remember, I'm sitting in the center. Sorry about that. My last battery kind of drained itself. Needs more energy, more energy. So, as I was saying, leave me a comment down below. How would you describe water rushing across the street? I don't know what it was doing, but it was doing something very fast. Anyway, for a little child in a car speeding up on it, it looked like there was a wall of water. A wall of water. And anyway, with that wall of water, my mother was trying to scare all of us. And all the other kids, of course, were laughing. I was the one who was always crying, saying, "Mommy, don't, Mommy, don't. Mommy, don't." Because I didn't want her to be hurt. I wasn't even thinking of myself at that time. I was thinking of her. I loved my mom so much. So anyway, she would stop where she did. Remember I said about the deer? And then we came down here even farther. Almost to the point that she actually got the hood of the car. Which I think that actually happened at the other place. But she actually put the hood of the car in the water. So I'm not kidding you when I said it was a wall of water. A wall of water. We actually put the hood in it, and you could see it going by. It was really bizarre. That's how deep it appeared to be for me as a child growing up. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to kind of skip around here, so because there's a lot of other places that I want to take you all to share my life with you. But for now, I'm going to take you here on this bridge, and we're going to move up a couple years. And I'm going to just show you that a lot of times here in these woods, on the road, here, let me show you really quick. And this here is Waterworks access, in case anybody wants to know. We are in Ono, Pennsylvania, okay? This is the first place that we had a home with my mother and my dad. This road here, in later years, as a child growing up, probably ages, I don't know, anywhere from 4 up to about 12 years old, maybe even a little bit less than that, 10 years old, we would go for long walks with my dad. Remember I said that they were separated by the time I was 3. And we would come over and visit my dad on the weekends, and he loved to take us for walks. So we would always walk along the street. Everybody knew who he was, and a lot of times we would have, you know, people coming up to us to talk to us, and other little kids in the neighborhood wanting to play and things. But as well, into my teen years, me and my sister, who I was very close to throughout my life, and we're still very close. I love her so much. We would come over here and go inner tubing. Inner tubing? Do you know what inner tubing is? Do you know what inner tubing is? A lot of times, these farmers around here especially, we would have friends, and they have old inner tubes that you use, like when a tractor gets a flat tire, or in my dad's case, like a big rig would get a flat tire or something. And back in them days, I don't know if they do it anymore, but they would put inner tubes, like in a bicycle. If they even do that with bicycles anymore, I don't know. But anyway, what we would do is we'd get these old inner tubes and we would patch them up sometimes. Sometimes we'd get really good ones that were just older. And we would fill them up with air, of course. At my dad's place, back in that garage that I was showing you. You gotta go back a couple videos. You gotta go back just a couple videos, and then you can see what I mean by garage. It was, at that time, it seemed like a humongous garage where my dad kept all kind of classic cars and my tractor. But anyway, we would fill up these inner tubes, and then we would put them in the water up here, right? Check this out. We would usually walk in down here, which now it's kind of grown in, but there is a pathway right there, you see that? And then we would walk into the swati. I was always scared, because remember, if you look back, I can't swim, or I couldn't swim at all back in those days. And I was terrified of water. Understand, my mom is racing towards it like we're gonna run into it, and we're gonna disappear forever. The water's gonna take us away. I was scared of water, terrified of water. So anyway, right here, check this out. This is the ultimate swati. And when I was in Ohio and I shot my video for I Know, when I was sitting on the bridge, if you want to get to know that, I have a YouTube page that if you type in Tracilyn or VCAT, that should come up. It can be accessed through my website at tracilyn.com, or what you could do as well is you can just type in, I think it's Tracilyn Michael in front of the youtube.com. But Tracilyn, it should show up. And I have a music video that is actually on my website as well called I Know. And at one point I'm actually sitting on the rail, kind of like this. And I'm singing I Know. I have a history of bridges, you know, and you'll get to know that too a little bit. I know, you know, we all know. But we would put our tubes into the water here. Check that out. And we would sit in those tubes, and there would be a bunch of us, all of us kids. My dad, at that time, he was married, so you know, to someone else who had a stepmother, and they had children. The first one that he was with had a daughter, and we had a lot of fun because I felt like I had a little sister that was closer to my age, you know, and that I could connect with. It was pretty neat. And we would go down the tubes in the water, and all we did was float and laugh. And then we'd say, oh my goodness, somebody would always try to scare me. There's fish coming up to you, there's fish coming up to you, or something. They would say something scary, watch out for whatever, you know. I don't even remember what they would say, but it was always scary, because I was even scared that sharks could be in there, because in the 70s, what was a popular horror movie when you were a child? When I was a child, a horror movie outside of Friday the 13th, which happened a little bit later, I think, I'm not sure. You have to look it up. Was it Jaws that happened first, or Friday the 13th? Or was it Friday the 13th and then Jaws, or Jaws and then Friday the 13th? Either way, however you look at it, Jaws was in my head at some point, because remember, we're not 1 and 3. This here is later years as a teenager. Hold on, there's a truck coming, look. I like that. So, anyway, they would scare me that there's a shark or some kind of object in there. And I would say during this time that I was going inner tubing was not at the age of 1 or 3, this many here. It was probably, we started doing it when I was more of like 7. maybe 6, 5, believe it or not. Of course, they were always close to me. Adults supervise, you know. Don't ever do this alone. You always do it with someone. Even if you're 40 years old, 75 years old, if you're 10 years old, 16, don't do it alone. Don't try this at home alone. You always want to be safe and be with somebody. We always went in a group of people, never alone, never alone. And then you'd meet people, they'd be fishing along there years ago, there'd be people fishing. So you have to be careful because they would scare you. They would say, I'm gonna pop your inner tube, then what are you gonna do? And I'd be screaming, no! No! And anyway, that was a big thing for us, inner tubing. And we did that for many years. And all we did is get in the tubes and float down through. Usually somebody would end up getting up early, one of the parents, and they would go and get the car, and then they would say they would meet us down somewhere. Because it took a long time, believe it or not. It was a very relaxful, very peaceful experience. We never went on this side. We never went on the other side, though, because the water streams down. Remember I told you in the beginning, whether it's this video or the last one, water rushes down this way. That's the way the current is. Right now the current is kind of slow, casual. Especially with my sister then, when I was a teenager, like especially the year 15, you'll hear me talk about that a lot. I tell people now I feel like I did when I was 15. Right now today, I'm going to be 41 this month, but I feel like I'm 15. You know, I feel like that teenager again. It was a good feeling, but a lot of times I feel like I'm 3, 2. So when I was 15, my sister, she later on got married between the ages of 13 and 15. We came out here in her tubing, and we would reminisce on old times when we were a kid. See, you'll find out in the videos that I share with you, a lot of times we would reminisce backwards. We would always remember our lives of what we once did, and life was always better kind of situation. But it wasn't always better. It's always better now. And you know why that is? Because now is the time that you're breathing and living in. All 5 senses. That's so they say there's 5 senses. Is there more? What do you think? So anyway, as we're walking back off this bridge, just hope that I don't get run over, because I have a lot to share with you yet. How about this? Leave me a comment down below and share with me some of the things you enjoyed. I know in a previous video I asked you, what did you do through the ages of 1 through 3? This is where we're at, sticking 1 through 3. But now we're going to just, I'm going to ask you, what did you enjoy doing when you were a kid growing up? Did you enjoy going tubing? Is it video games? Did you go to the arcade? Did you go horseback riding? I used to like that. I'll talk a little bit about that. It's something I always wanted to do more of, and I never really had the opportunity to, but I love horseback riding. Scared of horses, I am. They got big teeth. So, leave me a comment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk down the same road, memory lane. Where are we here? Just so you can know. They don't have a street name here, I don't think. This is along the Swati in Ono, Pennsylvania. I'm sure if you look it up, you can Google it. Google Ono, Pennsylvania, and then just enlarge it a little bit on Google Maps. And you can actually see a clear vision of the Swati that runs down. So, as I walk down this road that we used to as my father and as a family, my father and us, we used to walk down, I'm going to ask you to leave some comments because I want to know what you were into as a kid growing up. If you're willing to share, no matter what it was, whatever you liked. You know, this was a big thing. I was a water person. I always loved the water. And back in the day, there was nothing better than going down here to the Swati with my sister as a teenager. Back when the 80s bands were rocking and rolling. You know, my favorite band as a kid growing up, which we're going to talk a lot about, was Bon Jovi. I love Bon Jovi a lot. Too much. And I love Motley Crue. I love all the 80s bands. Poison, you know. But we would come down here, and this is where we spent our quality time together. You know, we did a lot of drinking. I was raised in a household where drinking was a very casual and regular thing. You know, some households are not. Beer was a big thing for my mother. She loved to drink beer. And even as kids growing up, we... And I'm definitely not suggesting that you do this. In fact, I'm suggesting the opposite. But I won't judge you either way. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter to me. But when I was a child growing up, beer was introduced to me at a very young age. And we used to come down here, and we would drink beer even as a teenager, and we would go tubing. And back in those days, if an officer caught you, it was scary, because you respected the enforcement. It's important that I share this with you. You respected the law enforcement, but they treated you like human beings, caring human beings. And they knew your parents, especially if you were a troublemaker. And, you know, they would make sure they spoke with authority, but they didn't speak to you disrespectfully. You'll find out in later years that as I got older, cops started disrespecting me a lot, almost consistently all the time. And it's very sad. It breaks my heart. But anyway, let's get back to here, and we're going to continue on with that, because I don't have any problems with officers. I love them. And you'll find out more about me and my feelings about all of that as we go on. But right now, we're going to stick back here, jumping around, but we're still at age 1 through 3 for today. Teenage years with my sister and her husband, and we were reminiscing on memories of years ago, because they were always better. But let me tell you something. It wasn't better. It was different. Because that time with my sister was no better or worse than when we were with my dad. It was different. And now when I think back to those days, I think I'd like to be with my sister. It's Tracilyn in my bikini. With a bottle of spring cold water. Very cold. Maybe a Diet Pepsi. I do like Diet Pepsi. Once in a while. Not too much. What about you? What do you like to drink? I was telling you, as a teenager, we drank beer. And when the cops were coming, as I was saying, what they would do is, if they caught you, they would either ask you to pack it up, they would ask you who's going to be driving, and they would talk to them, but there was no punishment, very rarely. They may at times confiscate your beer, sometimes for themselves is what we always joked around about, and other times they might tell you, you're going to dump that out right here, you're not going to leave any trash lay around, and you're going to pick it up, put it in the trunk of your car, you're going to leave. And they would speak, again, remember, I'm saying this, they would speak with authority, but they spoke to you with respect. They treated you like a human being. They didn't treat you like a slave or less. They treated you as an equal person. So actually, you had a great deal of respect. A lot of cops got to know me as I was little growing up. And just wait till I start sharing that. Well, what about you? Let's get back to you now. What do you like to drink? Is it beer? I won't judge you. Is it alcohol? Is it fruit punch? Remember that Tropicana Hawaiian punch guy? I would bust through the wall like Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. That was always cool, wasn't it? I wonder if that's why he started doing that. Was he a big fan, do you think? Do you think Dee Snider was a big fan of the Hawaiian tropical punch guy? I think that's why he kicked through the wall. Do you think that's why Steven Tyler from Aerosmith did that? I don't know. These are people I admired as a kid growing up, mind you. So I don't mean to be using anybody's name for anything, but these are people that inspired me. Remember, I said I love music. Eagles was the first person, or the first band that I ever heard. Take It Easy was the first song I ever heard in my life. And because of the Eagles, I'm madly in love with music. along with all the other hot guys of rock and roll, and especially Elvis, the king. Thank you, Tracilyn. Okay, so I'm going to take you down here a little bit. Actually, I'm going to turn it off because I got the battery going low. I want you to do me a favor. Leave a comment, any comment. Did you not like what I was talking about? Did you get offended anyway? Are you an officer maybe and you came across my blog site and you're kind of disgusted with what you just heard? Even if you are privately, or maybe you know somebody else who is. What is it that you like to drink? What is it that you love to do? Do you like water? Can you swim? Are you afraid of water? Did people harass you and tease you? Were you the little one in the bunch, or were you the older one that everyone picked on? The middle child, you know? I was the baby of my family. I was the baby of my mother. I did have other brothers, stepbrothers and stepsisters is what we called them back in the day. And I always liked to be the younger one. The little baby. Even to this day. I prefer to be around people that are older or my age. I love children. But even mentally, I mean. I love to hang around children and stuff, but mentally, I'm kind of like the younger one. The hipster. From the 70s. I'm going to turn it off right now to save a battery. Don't forget, I do have a website at tracilyn.com. And from there you can have different links. You'll be surprised what you find of me. I'm a very open individual. I try to be. I try to be careful because my strongest passion in life outside of music is reach and use. The youth are our future. And any youth that is watching these videos as I'm talking, I just hope that you know I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to offend anybody, but I also have peace in my own heart, in my own mind. See, my own heart, my own mind? Or is it my own heart down here, in my own mind? That I'm not responsible for how you feel or how anybody else feels about this, okay? So I'm just going to share. My intention is to be of help to other people and to get to know other people. And, you know, whatever reason, entertainment. Can we entertain? Does Tracilyn like to entertain, or does Tracilyn like to entertain? I also have a problem here when I'm recording is I like to look at the screen because I like to look at myself. Even when I'm singing or playing my guitar, because I am a singer-songwriter, by the way, and it's always been my passion. Music is my passion. I never thought I could be a singer, and we're going to get talking about a lot of this stuff as we go on. But as well, I grew up playing guitar. And I don't want to jump too far ahead and reveal that because we're kind of stuck here right now at the Swati. I don't want to spend too much time here. It's very sad, though. If you look back here, notice there's a lot of families, a lot of things that occurred throughout my whole childhood into my teen years. I went parking in these woods while listening to those 80s bands. I don't want to get too deep about it now. At that time, I was sharing relationships with the female gender, but that's not what I wanted to be with. And I'll talk a little bit more about that another time. But right now, understand, these woods were cleared out. We went parking as we grew up. Even sometimes when I was homeless, periods of times when I was homeless, but I had a car. I would always come out here. This was a magical spot for me, one of the first. Not as much as the ones I'm going to end up showing you here in the near future. This was very magical, and I think it was because I spent so much time with my dad down here. You know, this was the thing to do. He always took us places. My dad would always take us places in the van, you know, and I'll talk more about that later. We've been down to Florida. He was the one that took us outside of the little box that we lived in. You know, because we were on a tight budget. My mother was. She was raising 4 kids all by herself. I'm so proud of her. And her kids were everything to her. Now we're coming up here on another path. I'm going to shut this down really quick. And then I'm going to show you some more things. So hopefully, if this ends up being another video, just know this. Leave me a comment. If you like what I'm sharing with you, hit the like button. Don't be afraid to share it. For starters, let's just make this clear. I personally love to be humiliated. I don't like to be insulted. And I do not like to be abused, mistreated. But I do like to be humiliated. That's fun, in a playful way, you know? So I don't get offended, good or bad, leave whatever you want to. Remember, good or bad works for our benefit, no matter how you look at it. So, if you were a cop, maybe at one time, maybe you're retired, you've seen changes in the police force. I'm sharing this. This is very important to me, and I'll probably remind you a few times of some of the trouble that I got into and how cops treated me back then versus how I get treated most of the times now. Okay, I'm going to shut you down just for a second. Or should I just leave it on? Whoa, I almost... well, I better not do that too much. Looky here. Check out these rocks. But now they have this all blocked off. There used to be paths down here. And I probably can't get close enough. There's signs posted all over here. You know, basically, they don't want you to enjoy yourself here. What ends up happening a lot of times is it's not that they didn't intentionally want that, but people start complaining because other people come back and they start disrespecting. You know, they leave their trash, they come back here and party and get loud, maybe somebody gets hurt, so they gotta worry about lawsuits then, and all this stuff, and, you know, sometimes we just ruin ourselves, you know, or, you know, our generation maybe has ruined it for the next generation, make it a little bit harder. Sometimes it's not, you know, that people are being cruel and unjust to us. It's just that they come to a compromise where it's like, well, we can't let these people come back here anymore if they're going to be getting hurt or if they're going to be leaving trash lay around, right? Take your trash home. So I always have that in my head. I've messed up too, you know, sometimes. And there's animals out here, cute little animals. And, you know, the deer. But let's look here, look. See that trash? Seriously? That's just not cool. That's not cool. I don't want to beat anybody over the head, but let's face it, that's not cool. And then later on, you end up having signs like, let's look over here. See? I don't know how good this will show. But look. Now they got to go through and post signs warning people and basically saying, you can't be here anymore. So let's try to remember, pick up the trash, take it with us. It's not that hard. Just put it in a garbage can, and that way everybody can enjoy this for generations to come. Look at the tracks. There's something that was here, look. It sure wasn't no kitten. So this is where I'm going to leave off. I just want to say that later years, I ended up coming to places like this privately to lay out. Remember, I told you in a few videos ago that my mom loved to sunbathe. I wanted to be just like my mother. I loved everything about her. She was so beautiful. And because of society's mental condition at that time, is it wasn't accepted for what we call boys. Notice I say this, what we call boys or girls. They put us in a box and they say, this is how a girl lives, this is how a boy lives. Well, back in the day, I just want you to know, I'm going to be very forward with you. I am all lady. Hopefully you recognize that. I might miss the mark sometimes, but hey, my own mark is what matters. But listen, I don't want to ride too much about that now, but the truth of the matter is, the doctor labeled me as a boy. So back at that hospital, video 1, on my birth certificate, the doctor made sure that it was male. But he had no way of knowing. He didn't get inside my head at that time. He judged me by a body part. Let me just say, don't ever judge people by a body part. We'll get deeper into that later on. A lady is not a lady by a body part. Neither is a man or a gentleman, which is more important. So anyway, once I could drive my car and come out here as a teenager, I even rode my bike out here when I was 13, 15. Remember, this is a spot that we used to share with my dad. And as I got later years, you'll find out I didn't really spend as much time with him. He had moved on to his other, his other family kind of thing. But here's the thing. Because I love to sunbathe and I wanted to be like my mom, I realized that I like to have darker skin. I don't want to be completely burned or extremely dark, but I just want to take the bite off the white. That's what I come to now. Back then I wanted to be pretty dark. So anyway, it's amazing how we are, isn't it? But I could do it, so why not? And this was the spot I would ride my bike to, and I would drive my car to. And I would turn on the car stereo up there, where I just heard a noise. It's scary being out in the woods by yourself, isn't it? Do you get scared when you hear sounds in the trees? Leave me a comment. Tell me. Let me know down here. I want to know. Will you tell me? Do you get scared? Because I just got scared. I'm not scared. Yes, I am. Somebody's spying on me. And that's what would happen when I would lay on a blanket. I would be spied on. And I would come down here, which I'll get more into it, but I would lay out in my thongs. And sometimes I really wanted to be naked. And when you're doing that as a kid, it's very scary. You don't want to ever get caught with your clothes off when you're a kid, at least back in them days. You gotta think, I'm old school, 70s. Nowadays, people probably don't care. Maybe they do. Do they care? Would you care if you were sunbathing and you got caught with no clothes on? Would you be very comfortable? Would you? What about thongs? What about when somebody sees you in thongs for the first time? Do you get nervous? Or do you enjoy the ruckus that it starts up? It stirs people up sometimes, Nowadays it might not be. It might be a very boring thing. But back in my day, it was a big thing. You got caught out here laying in your sunbathing. Now understand, they labeled me boy. Let's just make it very clear. I'm a very femme being. And I prefer getting treated like a lady. And you might be very confused about this right now. You got to hold in there. I'm going to share everything with you. We're on years 1 through 3, and we're skipping ahead because I'm not going to have time to really come back here. So now we're at ages 13 to 15. Look what I just found. Squirt guns. You want to know something? I love that so much. They might work. I'm running out of battery right now. Did you ever use a squirt gun? Do you use squirt guns? That was a big thing when I was little. The battery's running out. I know this is a horrible time to do it because I was talking about nude sunbathing. Hopefully I'll remember to pick it up for you because I've done that many times. We'll go to a few other spots and I'll share with you what I used to do and even how I got caught and screamed at by lots of people. Wherever I go, there's trouble. I'm an exhibitionist. I just like to be natural, baby. I like to be unnatural. So, anyway, I would lay out here in my blanket. Up there, I would listen to my car stereo down here, or a boom box. We used to have boom boxes when we were little. And I would lay out in my thongs, hoping nobody would catch me, but always feeling like somebody was spying on me. I'm sure there was. And it was always that dare to go completely naked. And when I do that, I'd be looking around. Is anybody watching me? And I had really long hair. Remember, Cher was my inspiration for hair. Gotta look back a few videos to know what I'm talking about. I don't want to keep repeating myself. But here's the thing. Cher was an inspiration. And I never understood why my grandparents didn't wear their hair down because I wanted to have long, beautiful hair like Cher. I'm going to let you go for now. Say hi to me on Facebook. That's Tracilyn. The number's 21. Connect with me. I'm going to be very forward with you. When people connect with me on Facebook, let me just say anywhere on the internet, I'm a good judger of character. And though I don't judge other people, I am wise to the fact that if you seem to be disrespectful in any way, which I don't think you will be, I won't communicate with you. However, if you approach me nicely, I'd love to talk to you. Okay? About anything. As long as it's respectful. Any questions? Maybe at this point you're really confused with this whole birth certificate thing and what does she mean? Or maybe you're like, I had it figured out. I don't know where you are in your walk of life, okay? But let's just say that I like to reveal some things a little bit at a time. Get the mind thinking. Let me tell you something right now. There's a lot of stories out there of people's life's journey, and everybody's uniquely different. No one's is better. They're just uniquely different, but I assure you this. The life journey that I have to share with you, maybe I'm going to find out in the end it's not so unique. Maybe there's a lot of people that had a lot of similar situations, like over there by them squirt guns, which I would love to fill up and squirt you. But I probably regret it. Right now anyway, wouldn't I? Because you probably have a garden hose in your hand, and you're going to spray me down. Or your soda bottle or something, your beer. You're going to dump it on your computer. You ain't going to get me, are you? No, you're not. So, anyway. Did you ever go sunbathing? Do you like to sunbathe? Is that a passion of yours? I'm very passionate about that. You will find out, and you will find out that sunbathing alone has been an issue in my life with other people. They don't get it. They're into different things. They don't understand that I've been doing these things since I was a child. I've been wanting to be like my mother since a child. I've been wanting to have long hair like Cher. I got you, babe. I got you, babe. I got you. And you got me. So I've been wanting to have long hair since childhood. I've been wanting to be like my mother. You know, when I was even in the trailer, when she would wash her dishes, I would sit on the floor, and at that time, I was a big matchbox. And the matchboxes would bring out my imagination, believe it or not. I would always get very unique matchboxes in the grocery store or wherever. Even as a toddler, I remember those things. And pushing them around, I would always use my imagination. And they were always happy times. Always happy times, never sad times. I didn't have too many dramatic times back in that day in the trailer house that I really remember or care to remember anything being different. Like I said, I remember being tossed around a little bit, not necessarily tossed around, but passed around and loved and nurtured and all this other stuff, taken care of and safe. I felt safe, no worries in the world. And my mom was the entertainer. And she taught me how to be an entertainer. Oh yes, she did, in many ways. All the way down to laying out in the sun, getting people to be snooping around the woods, wondering, what is that person doing over there? What does she mean by she was, doctor said mailed by a body part? Oh yes, just wait. My story is very unique, you know, and I hope you give me the time to listen, just listen. Try not to judge. Let's try not to leave your comments respectfully. If you don't, it's okay. I have a sense of humor. Insult me, will you? Give me your best insult. Could you do that? Could you give me your best insult? What do you think of Tracilyn? What do you think of her vlog right now so far? Does it anger you? What does she say about this police? You know? What's she trying to say now? You're trying to figure all this out? What does she mean by her birth certificate? What does she mean about laying out nude in a public place? Oh no! She is a bad, bad girl. She shouldn't be out there. Somebody should be spanking her. I like to be spanked, by the way. So I'm gonna fill, there's two of them here. I wish you were here with me. I like the little one. But this was a big thing of mine too, squirt guns. What did you like to do? Tell me. I'm gonna keep on asking you this. What did you like to do in your younger years? As a kid, what do you like to do now? I don't care what you share. Let's see if this works. Look, it works. I wish I could shoot you. But I so regret it. But it would be so funny. Someday maybe, right? Someday maybe I'll be squirting this gun at my camera and it's gonna get you. Don't be so sure that it won't. Modern technology is advancing. Maybe someday I'll be with you. And maybe someday I'll have my squirt gun handy. And you won't have yours. And I'm gonna squirt you. Right in the face. No, I wouldn't do that, would I? I won't squirt you in the face. Not intentionally. Promise. I heard something. And you know what else? Look over there at those trees. Sometimes we would hang tires on them and ropes. Did you ever do that? Oh, I was always so scared. I wouldn't, but I'd watch people. There's some things I just would not do. And that was one of them, because remember, I can't swim, or I couldn't swim. And I was scared of water. Everybody scared me. They told me there was sharks in there and things that were going to bite me. The fish were going to bite my toes and stuff. And I was just so scared. I never really learned how to swim. I can do a little bit now. But they used to have ropes over there, and I would just admire. See, now remember I said about my dad with the fire, how brave he was, and with the gun, how brave he was. I felt safe around these people. And then like with that rope, I admired them because they, remember, I'm laying in the sun. I like to relax and get a tan. I love tan lines, just little ones. Just little. But I would admire people like that. Because I want to do it, but let's face it, we can't all do everything. And anybody who says they can, then my hat's off to them. Boop, if I had one on. But there's just some things I just won't do. Would have done, should have done maybe. But I might have done it once and then I totally regretted it. In fact, if I get the time, I'll show you where I went off a diving board and I swore I'd never go off one again. But they would swing with the rope. And it wasn't deep, super deep, but as a kid it was. And they would swing and splash. And just watching everybody laugh together and play together doing the same thing. You know, a lot of times I was kind of like a stand-byer, you know, because I was scared of doing a lot of things as a kid growing up. So I would just kind of watch and then I would kind of go away, you know, kind of just like do whatever. Like I'd pick up a squirt gun. Or play with my matchboxes. Or go sit with my mother, you know, because I guess you could say I didn't have enough guts to do a lot of what other people were doing. Fear kept me from swinging on a rope, jumping into the water with everyone else. Fear did. And if there was people over there now, I don't know if I'd do it. Maybe. My thing would probably be I don't have health insurance. I'd be scared of hurting myself and creating an enormous doctor bill. Because let's face it, doctor bills are amazingly high nowadays, especially if you go to the emergency room. Who can afford to go to the emergency room? Let's not get too deep with that. I don't want to upset anybody or hurt their feelings, but let's just say, if somebody was over there right now, would you do it? Would you love to, or did you do it? Every time I think of that, I think of country folk. I've seen that a lot of times in country videos. I used to love watching country videos, and it would always remind me of that. I wish I had the courage to do that. And I believe if I had the right people in my life encouraging me, I think that I could do a lot of things. And I would think that, because I always felt kind of like an outsider because I didn't have courage. I was scared to do a lot of things. But maybe if I was with the right person in life, maybe some of the things I was scared of, I would overcome my fear. But that's not fair, right? I shouldn't need somebody else to overcome my fear. What do you think about that? You think fear should be overcome alone? Or do you think that overcoming things that you fear is better off when you're with somebody that you feel you can trust? That's the way I was. When I was with my dad, I could trust. I could trust doing a lot of things with him. When I was with my mom, I felt safe. And as she would do things, I would do it with her. I want to share more of those things that I would do feeling secure with my mother and trusting my dad. Okay? So I gotta go back I'm going to go enjoy some of the places that I used to go. I'm going to play guitar for a while. I won't share too much music because I want this all to be more of a vocal blog, but I am a songwriter. I play guitar. My greatest passion is music. Children are right there with it. And I love entertaining. But I love so much about life. There's so much in life that I love and that I miss. And most importantly, I wish I had someone special to share it with. So we have each other. You and I. And I really am not kidding. I want to know about you. Share your life with me. Don't fear. F-E-A-R. Did I spell that right? Don't fear. I won't laugh at you. I'll laugh with you. Ta-da! We are at the Swati, or what we call the Swati anyway, in Ono, Pennsylvania. Oh no, we're going to oh no. We're going to oh no. We used to always say that as a kid. Oh no! I was kind of a hillbilly 70s chick, you know, what do you say? Bet you never knew Tracilyn had a lot of country in her. Look around. And this is only part of it. Down there is an island. That's where I would sneak away to be completely nude. And hope that I didn't get caught. But always feeling like there was a lot of people watching me from the darkness of the trees. Now, obviously, if you do a search on Google, you will find out that I definitely do not fear those things anymore. In fact, it makes me happy. I like to share all of me with people. Not everyone, but with people. And that's why I'm sharing with you my story. My life. 40 years. Remember, 1 through 3 is where we're at, but I was just showing you what I did as a teenager because I'm not planning on coming back here to do this video. A lot of good times. We went parking. When I was homeless, I stayed in a car. What about you? What about you? Do you have a spot like this? A spot where you had different things? You went tubing with your father or walking with your mother like we did. Did you come down here with your other siblings or your friends and swing on a rope? Maybe not here, but I'm talking about another spot. What other spot did you go that you kept returning after so many years? And each year had something different, you know? By the time we were teenagers, we were getting caught for drinking and getting asked by the police to go home safely. You know, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. Just, you get it. There was always somebody that was sober with us. At least more sober. Oh, I got away with it. We passed. But, you know, we went parking. We did stuff like that. We slept. Sometimes I just came out here just to get away and think. And play my guitar on the hood of my car. I was a dreamer, you know. I dreamt all the time. I wanted to be like those 80s rock and rollers, like John Bon Jovi. I will say his name a lot. I hope that's okay. I'm not, you know, offending or upsetting anyone, because with the people in my life that I came into, like, I don't plan on using their names. I want to relate to, like, what they were to me, a sister, a brother, a mother, a father, you know, in my head, what they were to me. When it comes to people like celebrities and stuff, a little more open about that, you know? Yeah. And that's good.